Welcome, here I am again. I have a stop and waste valve for a sprinkler system that froze on me. My son and I had to dig it up and had a plumber replace it. But when he replaced it, I asked him to save it for me because I wanted to take it apart and see what had happened. I've been using this valve since I bought the house about 7 or 8 years ago, and I've had to turn it on and off at the beginning and end of the watering season. This time my son and I went to turn it off, and I always take somebody with me because it's been really stiff since the beginning. So with a street key and a bunch of cheaters on the street key, we've been able to turn it on and off. But it hadn't been easy. And this past fall, we went to turn it off and it would not turn. And with the cheaters on it, we managed to break off the top of the valve. And if you see here, there's a set screw that goes right there. And you can see the marks that have been made on the top of the valve from turning it off the last 6 or 7 or 8 years. Anyway, when I got it home, I wanted to take it apart. And so I did. I tried to screw off the bottom, but that didn't work. So I put it in the vise and cut it in half with a hacksaw. It was rather satisfying to cut in half, and being brass, it was pretty easy to cut. So this is how this thing works. You have the valve stem that goes in here, and it's a tapered valve. You can see both the body and the spool are tapered. And then of course there's packing on the bottom to keep it from leaking. It goes on like that. And then of course the cap screws on, something like that. I talked to the plumber and he said this is a common failure mode with this type of valve, the stop and waste, because it's tapered. It has to fit together tight or it will leak. But then over the years, the corrosion, and it basically welds itself closed, or welds itself into a single position, and there's no way to get it to move again without destroying it. Maybe I should have tried boiling water down the hole to expand the valve body and try to get a little bit of clearance, even 1/10,000th of an inch, to get that valve to release or open up enough so I could turn it. Anyway, they're not made like this anymore, I don't believe. And hopefully the one I got in there now is going to work for a long time, because where I live, the frost line is about 48 inches down to the water main, which is a long way to dig when you're digging by hand. Luckily, when we broke the top off, the valve did not move and it didn't leak. So it gave us plenty of time to dig it up without having to dig up a swamp. Anyway, now I've got 2 pounds of brass that's all cut up into pieces. Maybe I'll take it to the recyclers. Anyway, enjoy.